So thank you everybody today for joining us for this payment management webinar in conjunction with Continia. Thomas here is going to be going through the slides, and then afterwards he'll be doing the demo for us. If you can move to the next slide. So my name is Danusha Jolliffe. I'm the marketing director here at TVision. And we've been working with Continia for a long time now, using their various solutions. And today specifically, we'll be talking about payment management. Thomas, I'll get him to introduce himself shortly, just before he does the demo.
Yes, so I can shortly just introduce myself. My name is Thomas Droop. I'm a senior solution manager for the payment management product. I'm based out of Denmark. Been working with the product actually myself for the last 25 years. It's Continia's oldest product. So I've been working with it as a user in the finance department, and now on the other side of the table, managing and showing the product to customers and partners around the world.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you. So on the agenda today, we're going to be talking about ways to handle payments easily and safely. And Thomas will be going through the vendor card, payment journals, bank account reconciliation, and bank accounts. Now, if anyone has any questions throughout, please do ask, and I can stop as we go through. If you need a bit more of an in-depth answer, then we can talk to you offline afterwards. But as I said, either put the questions in the question box or in the chat, and I'll ask Thomas at an appropriate time as we're going through the demo. So I'll be paying attention to them. Thomas, over to you.
Thank you. So, I'm going to talk about Continia Payment Management, which is actually the newest release that we are going to is the UK market for this product. What payment management is it's a product that can do like direct integration with the bank, doing payments, but also the reconciliation of the statements afterwards. So, what I would do now is don't talk that much about PowerPoints, but just directly jump in to the solution here and show what it can do. So what we have done, we have integrated with what we call like an open banking provider in the UK called Yapily, which has all the banks in the UK. So what we can do then is we can integrate directly in Business Central. So when we are sending payments, we will direct the payment to the bank, you approve it directly, and everything will be updated within Business Central. So to start with, I would just show on the vendor card, what have we added of different functionalities here. Then I will go and do some payments in the payment journal, show how is the integration working and what can we do. Afterwards, we will do some bank reconciliation of what we have done. And after that, I will show the posted bank statement, but also some of the updated fields that we do on the bank card and some of the options there. So the vendor card, just go into a vendor.
Oh, Thomas?
So, yes.
We had our first question. Is this available on NAV or is it just on Business Central?
It is available only on what we call the app version, the Business Central 15 and forward, for cloud and on-premise.
Okay.
Yes. So on the vendor card, if we go to the section payments, we have added some different functionality. The first one here is skip payments, which means that if you somehow have some payments done that are not been sent directly from Business Central, it could be a direct withdrawal from a credit card or anything anywhere else, we can hit skip payments. This means that when we do the suggestion in the payment journal, we will never see these invoices from this certain vendor. Also, what we work with is something called balance account. So we can have like different currencies, for example. So if we have set up different balance accounts based on different currencies for different bank account. It could be that you have like one for British pound, one for euros, one for US dollars. Then we can set it up in general based on the currency, or we can also change it on each vendor card. So this specific vendor should also always be paid from this balancing account. Of course, they are a preferred bank account, and this will be updated when setting up payment management. Take the preferred bank account and put it into this field. Then what we have also added is in standard Business Central, there are some payment method codes. For payment management, we have created our own, and this is to have the complete control of the complete process in Business Central. So this means in the setup of payment management, we will translate the existing payment method to a payment management payment method. So this also means if the bank changes something, and if something is changed, we can immediately push it out to you. So when you're doing the suggestion and try to do some payments in the payment journal, you will have a notification saying the bank have changed some setup. Will you update it in your Business Central? Yes or no? Of course, it's a good idea to say yes, but it's to have the complete control of the payment process. Also, there are some allow summarizing payments. This means, of course, you can do like a batch payments, but you can also within each vendor summarize a lot of different payment lines. So for example, instead of doing one payment per invoice, you could like summarize those lines into one payment lines with 5 invoices and pay that in one amount. This can be done by switching on this functionality on the vendor card, and we also have some functionality to do it automatically when doing the suggestion in the payment journal. Also, we have this button here called Exclude Credit Memos when summarizing. So if you don't want to have the credit memos in the summarized payment list, line, we can do that as well. So we have cost types. So if you're doing like a payment abroad or something like that, where you have some fees in your bank and the receiver of the money have some fees in their bank, you can decide here whether to have like shared cost, who should take the fees and put it in, and it will be sent with the bank with the payment. Also, this notification field out here, just show more. We have the option to send an email notification, like a remittance advice. So for different payment lines, we can send an email notification to the vendor saying we have paid this amount to you today. This can also be automated on post, meaning that when you post the lines in the payment journal, we can send it, or in the job queue. So at a certain time of day, we can just send the email notification. So if you want to use this, we have this field here. I want to bank an email. This means that they, of course, will have the notification in the bank, but also they can receive an email with the notification. And you just need to fill in the recipient email in this field here. So for some payments, there are some requirements in the bank. For example, the name of the length of the name, the address, could be rejected in the bank because the name is too long. So what we have created is this alternative vendor information, meaning they could put in some of the name. Could also be there were some special characters in the name of the vendor that the bank doesn't allow. Then you just put in the name without that special character. So what happened and when do I need to fill this in? This is when you post the invoices. We have a validation process going on, meaning that we validate certain fields on the vendor card and on the actual document. So for example, if you don't have filled out the bank information on the vendor card, it could also be what I said before, the name is too long, or other different things that could do that this actual document or invoice is not validated correctly. This is also to ensure when we send the payment that it's not rejected in the bank. We want to handle everything in Business Central before we send it to the bank. So if I just try and create a new purchase invoice here, we have this validation window here. So if something goes wrong, you will have an exact message of what you need to correct in order for this invoice to be posted. If you have our other product, document capture, for example, this validation process will also be integrated together with document capture on all purchase documents. So I don't want to post an invoice because I already did it in advance. So now what we can do is we can go to the payment journal. We have created our own payment journal where we had added certain fields. For example, a status column. As you will see in a minute when I do the suggestion, this will change on each of the lines. So I'll just start by suggesting vendor payments. and click OK. So now you can see there's a lot of lines with the status valid on it. This means that it has been validated, and we actually do a second validation in the payment journal. If something should have changed, this should still be validated. So valid means it's ready to be sent to the bank. The next status when we send it will be sent, of course. This will automatically update it when we send it to the bank. When the bank has received it, we will receive a status code back. So it would change to processing, meaning that the bank has received it. It's in process, ready to be paid. It could be that you send like a batch where some of the payments are in the future. So maybe some will be paid tomorrow or the day after, and then it would be in process until it has actually been paid. And then we can update the status on the line till paid. So also we have out here where we always can click on the payment status. So see what happens. Now it is valid. So in a minute when I send it, it will be updated with a second line in here. So everything can see where in the process is this payment. If you have our other product installed together with Payment Management, Document Capture, you are able to see like a small fact box out here where you can see the actual invoice that you have processed to Document Capture. So if you want to look at it before validating sending the payments, you can do that directly from the payment journal. Also, should there be an error when do the suggestion, we could have a status of invalid. This will make an error message in the fact box here, the payment file error. It could be that I do some suggestions today, but I don't send the payment. Tomorrow, I will go in and send them. Then it will be updated to invalid because the date is, for example, today. But if I try to send them tomorrow, I need to update the date and validate the payment once again by changing the date and validate the payment by pushing this button. Also, on each of the line, if there were some notification on it, and in this environment, I don't have any, then you were able to see the different notification lines that will be sent with the payment. And this is also what we build into the email notification. So we have certain ways of setting this notification. So you can do like a standard notification for all vendors, or you can also on the vendor card say this vendor has to have a different notification. So I don't want to talk about setup that much, but we have a payment journal setup. And here we can change the required posting status to paid. So we can only post the line that I actually paid. So if there were like 3 lines with paid, some with valid, some with processing, and I was to click post, it will only post the paid line. And that's a good idea ways to do this, because then we know that it has actually been paid in the bank before we post it, and we don't need to repost anything and do everything all over if it somehow should be rejected in the bank in a later process. Also, we can find payment discount automatically. So if you have some vendors with like 30 days of payment, but if you pay within 8 days, you get a 2% discount. If you switch this on, we can automatically find that payment discount. Also, we have some handle bank holidays. We have built in all UK bank holidays. So this means that if I was to send a payment that was due on a bank holiday, we can move it before or after. So if I do before, it will automatically make sure that this payment is done before a bank holiday. This also ensures that if you're using the payment discount, it will be paid within the payment discount period and not after. So what happens now is that I will export and send the payments. So I can do all lines. This means that it will try and create a batch for all the lines. Some banks in the PSD2 requirement, which is the open banking solution, has a limitation of amount and lines. For example, the HSBC Bank has a maximum of each batch of 50,000 British pounds, or a maximum of 15 lines. And there are certain requirements for different banks, and this we have built into this process. So if there are more lines that could be in one batch, we will create more batches. Or if there was one single payment, for example, that was above that amount, we will create a single payment and a batch for the rest. So clicking all lines, we will now open this window here. So you can see there's a header and there's some line. So this is like a bulk payment and this is a single payment. And if I'm doing it a bit larger, I've set a limit on the account for 5,000 in this environment. So this means that it has created like a batch payment for these lines because it is within and lower than the 5,000. But this single one is above that limit and creates a single payment. So what I need to do now is I need to authenticate the payments by clicking the link. So this will now redirect me to the bank. So if this was like a NatWest Bank and a Barclays Bank, it will direct you to that specific bank. Now this is like a sandbox environment that I'm in. So I have like this test bank that I can use. So then we need to authorize the payment and log in and confirm the payment. This is the account. It will be displayed, and then I will confirm this. I just need to click OK on this one and confirm the payment. So click yes, and the payment is processed. So now it removes, it has been sent to the bank. So now I can authorize the single payment. So in this case, authorize the single payment, open again the bank, need to put in my credentials to authorize it. And now this payment is also sent to the bank. So closing this window, you can now see that the status code has been sent. In a couple of minutes, I'm able to go in and I can click update status, and then it should be processing, meaning that we know that the bank has received them and it's in process. Later on, I'm able to update the status again, and then it should be updated to paid. It will also update it when I try to send a new payment, for example. Also look, are there any new status codes? Then we will receive them also when we try to send new ones. So just go here. Now we can see that this one was valid. Now it's sent. And we can also see who has created this one and what time. So this is how to do the payments. I will just switch to another environment to show you how we can do like the reconciliation part of it. Need to remember my password. So in this environment, I will just click the bank account reconciliation. I have like a reconciliation here. I go in, and this is also like a standard bank reconciliation from Business Central. Here we are also added a lot of different functionality. For example, we have added the status column, number of reconciliation suggestion, additional information. So when I am now going in and import and match, automatically we get the statement from the bank using the direct banking. Starts reconciling, looking for like vendor ledger entries, customer ledger entries, all the different things that we can match. So now we can see on the right side or on the left side here, we have the statement lines that we have received from the bank. And on the right side, we have all the open bank ledger entry, which is in Business Central that are still open. So if we look at the status column, we can see there are a lot of different statuses. There's OK, meaning that it has found a direct match. There's the unsolved lines, which means these are the ones that we need to look into. It hasn't found a direct match. And it could be that it has found something. Then it will have created like a number of reconciliation suggestions. So there's also some of the lines that are awaiting the cash receipt journal, and also some of the lines that are awaiting the general journal. There could also be different ones, like awaiting the payment journal and other things. Up here on the right side, we have an overview of now how many lines are in the different journals, the cash receipt journal, the general journal, or if there were any unposted lines in the payment journal, they would say, okay, maybe there were 3 lines. Then it's always a good idea to go in and post those lines, because it could be that they have already been paid and they are not in in the list of the open bank ledger entries. So to have a look at the lines here, look at the first unsolved line. So this line here will have a match of this line over here. Now I know it because I just look at the amounts and I don't have that many lines. So the point here is that all payments done from the payment journal should have a one-to-one match, but I just manipulated a little bit with the system because if we look at like date and amount, this has the 23rd of August and this has the 24th of August. So what we can do now, we can mark the line and then we can go and we can manually match it. But we could also just do like a simple setting in payment management where we say we look 1 day ahead and 1 day back. And that would automatically have resolved this line and matched it. But now I'll just match manually. This unsolved line, you have a number of reconciliation suggestions. We look at that. It has automatically found the customer number, but because the amount here is different from the statement amount, it is a difference of 126.8 British pounds. In this case, it is because there are some possible payment discount, and the customer has paid it with the deducted amount of the payment discount. So, of course, they have paid within time, so they should have the payment discount, but the total amount is larger. So when now I click OK, payment management will transfer it to the cash receipt journal and take care of this process, post the discount amount on the discount account, and also it will like completely eliminate the customer ledger entry that we have posted. So now it's awaiting the cash receipt journal. So going to the next unsolved line, we can always look in this field here, say, is there any additional information on some of the lines? And based on this, and based on a lot of different technology we have built in and intelligence, we match it as much as possible directly. But in this case, there's no additional information. It could be that one of the employees is standing in the airport, say, I need some money here and now, please transfer them to me, or I can't get home. You go directly into the bank, transfer it, and then it will of course be a line in the statement, and it's not posted in Business Central. So what we can do is we can manually handle it, and we can then go in and we can match automatically. Again, now it's transferred to a GL journal, and then we have to apply a GL account in order for this to be posted and matched. So the last line here also have a suggestion on it. So looking at this, found the customer number, the amount has a difference of 38 cents. So they paid 38 cents too less. So clicking OK to this one, it will create a line in the cash receipt journal, but it can also see there is a difference in the amounts on the different lines. So we have some journals here, and we have the rules that we can set up. I don't want to go that much in it, but all companies have like fee and interest. So we can set up the different search sectors. We know we get this search text from the bank, and then we can set up bank fee, bank interest. We can search within, exact from left and right, and then we can put it on bank account or GL account for positive and negative amount. So what this has done, when I imported the statement, it created these lines for bank fee and bank interest completely automatically and put them into the GL journal with an applied GL account. So going into the journals here, first look at the cash receipt journal. Says there's difference on the lines. We already knew that. There was the cent and there was this payment discount. So what options do we have to handle this difference in the amount? In the standard cash receipt journal, we can set up some functionality. If there's a difference in the amount within 0 to like 0.5 cents, we can put it into like a difference account, and then we can eliminate the customer ledger entry completely as well. Or we can just post it now, and then it would be a difference on the customer ledger entry for this amount. So posting the lines now. Before I do it, actually, there were one of the lines that has a payment from headquarters. So, and in the additional information we got from the bank, there were 2 invoice numbers, and based on that, it has created one bank ledger entry and 2 customers for 2 different customer numbers and applied them that specific ledger entry. So we can have a lot. We have seen customers that have like 100 different invoices in the same payment, which automatically would just be found based on the information that are in the additional information using this. So clicking post, yes. And we go back to the reconciliation part. Now the lines that we just posted, okay. So we can go into the general journal. Here are the 2 lines for the fees. And this one was the one that we manually transferred to the journal. So I just need to apply an account, put it on the same here. And then I just need to post these lines. So going back, all lines are now okay. So let's imagine that also you have received one payment line from a customer, but they send you a specification that, okay, it couldn't be in the notification in the bank. So I have a specification on an email with 100 invoice numbers they've just paid me. Then copy the 100 invoice from the email, go into the additional information and just paste them in. Then we have the information in the notification text, and then we can just go up and auto match here, and then it would find all the new information that we have applied and try to match it based on that. We can also, if it has found a customer, or if we just apply a customer to the line, we can also go up and look at apply customer ledger entries. Then it would look on the different customer ledger entries. Now I was on the line that was not a customer. So if we try that one here, maybe we are lucky. It's because they have been applied, so maybe there's nothing there. But in this case, there were also 2 others. So then we can go in, we can look at the difference. And if there were like more we should apply, we just click to tick the boxes and click close. And then it will be added and matched. We can do the same. Yes.
So we had another question. I'd love to know your answer, actually. Someone said that they think that this could save them a lot of time in their business, but have you got a sort of a feeling for or numbers on how much time people would actually save if they're using this system versus doing everything manually as they're doing at the moment?
No, I don't have any like specific. I know that there were a company that said they use normally like 3 days of doing reconciliation, okay, and now they use 2 hours based on the functionality. We have what we call like when everything is set up and you used it for like a month or something, we say that we have like a 95% matching, and then you have like the rest of the unsold life that you manually have to look at.
Well, that's a great time save already. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So yeah, of course it can do a lot of other things, apply vendor ledger entry, employees, and we can also do employees in the payment journal together with the vendor. So we can also like do the reconciliation afterwards on the employees. And for the employees, we also added some different functionality to apply balance account, payment method, and other stuff that is not in standard Business Central. So I think this is the reconciliation. So if we just post the lines, click yes. And if I go to the bank account, if I just click the button correctly here, my system just froze. That's nice. So bank account, and I go into the bank account. We can now also, clicking on bank account and statements, we can see all the posted statements. I can click on this and I can see different lines that has just been added. We can see the additional information. So everything will be stored on the statement. Also, if there was some bank reference, transaction ID, send ID, a lot of other information, all of this will be stored on the bank card. And we also is updating, if I think it's here, what we call the balance last statement and the last statement number. So we know exactly also what is the next amount that will come in and match it based on the starting amount and ending amount, so nothing will be lost. The last thing I want to show here on this card is we can allow multiple bank statements. This means that if I switch this on, I can have more statements in the same reconciliation. And I can also base it on current week, current months. And if I choose this, I can also decide whether to create a new reconciliation based on each of the statements. So there's a lot of different options to do different things. So I think the time is there. The last thing I want to mention, and I don't know if we also have some integration with direct debit. We can show this another day, but there's also some direct debit solution within payment management.
Great, so we've had just 2 more questions then we can finish up. So for when you're processing the payments, does Continia allow an approval workflow before the payments are sent to the bank? That make sense?
Not yet, but as of 1st of October and very soon, we have an approval workflow module which can do, so you can do several approvals by either amount or this person has to approve before this one. So we can approve for payments as well. Yes.
Okay, and the last question was, thank you for doing the demo. Obviously, we realise that it's not as in-depth as perhaps it could be. So what are the next steps in case anyone is interested? What can we do for them?
What we can do next is we can, of course, we get the information. What are their needs? So, yeah, how many banks? What bank do they have? Because there are some settings that you need to do in the bank, and of course, we will deliver that. What is the setting you need to do in the bank previous to this? And also, we have some price lists that we can share, or you can share with them. And yeah, then just to wait until it is actually released, because the release date for now will also be around 1st of October for this product.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, thank you so much for giving us that overview demo today. Again, I'm sure we could have gone into it for much, much longer, but we like to keep them sort of to that half hour. So thank you everybody for attending today. The link to the webinar will be sent out shortly, and as always, it will be available on the website to view or on our YouTube channel. So thanks once again, Thomas, and thank you everyone for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.